Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. If you want to speak louder without hurting your vocal cords, I'm going to teach you how in this lesson. If you're ready, let's get started. All right, so we have two parts. The first part one, breathe. Okay, so breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. You might be more accustomed to breathing out through your mouth, but try to breathe in through your nose. So what I like to do is breathe in for 6 breaths, hold for 4, and then out for 8 breaths. So you'll count that. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale for 8 counts. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're lengthening the exhale, as you can see, which is a little bit hard if you're not used to it, but just hear me out. When you take deep, slow breaths and extend your exhale, you're actually taking in more oxygen than if you were to take shallow, quick breaths with a short exhale. Getting oxygen to the lungs is very important. Slowing your breathing down will also lower your heart rate. So if you have any nerves that are sort of getting in the way and giving you that social anxiety, you will have an overall more calming effect by slowing the breath down and extending the exhale. Next, you want to stretch. Open your rib cage and expand this area. You want to think about making room, right? So if you have good posture, you'll already actually be one step ahead. Pay attention throughout the day. Are you hunched over? Are you at your desk or on your phone in that hunched over position? If you notice that, try to adopt a better posture with an open stance and not constricting airflow and sound waves. So that's really important, and it's something that you can do throughout the day. Visualize. So now I want you to visualize your diaphragm, which is this area here, the powerhouse, expanding. As you breathe in through your nose, feel the breath all around your core, even in the back, right? You don't want to feel it in your chest or in your throat. Imagine that your breath is coming from your upper stomach and not from your chest. So it might be helpful if you're someone who likes doing yoga, you might want to try some yoga breathing. Just lay out on your mat or sit upright in a cross-legged position and just imagine your rib cage expanding. Next, open your mouth. Face yoga is also a really great way to create space in the mouth. In American English, we open our mouths quite a lot to pronounce the words, and you'll notice that we make big shapes with our lips and mouth. All you have to do is look at Americans speak English, and you'll see that we move our mouths a lot. I'm already moving my mouth a lot in this lesson, right? We want to create shape and space to vocalize a sound and emit the words. So try it. It's fun. You might feel like you don't use your mouth that much to speak and voice the words. So let's try this exercise. I want you to say this phrase a few times. After having an apple, I feel amazing and awesome. I really want you to exaggerate moving your mouth and making wider shapes with your lips and with your mouth. I want you to exaggerate because I want you to be able to feel the words coming out. So if you have to go a little bit overboard, that's okay. Be theatrical about it. Imagine you're putting on a performance, and you can just do this in front of the mirror. You don't have to go out in public and do this, but I want you to get more accustomed to really using your mouth fully as you pronounce the words, because this will help with enunciation as well as pronunciation, and as the title of this lesson, how to speak louder. That will also help you in that regard. So practice that phrase. You might have noticed that I chose the low front vowel as in after, having, an, apple, to illustrate this widening of the mouth, right? And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but again, exaggerate so that you can then fall back on something a little bit more toned down, but still you're creating that space in your mouth. Okay, Now that we're breathing properly, we're standing up straight, and we're preparing our facial expressions and our diaphragm muscles, we can now practice with our voice. All right, so let's go on to part 2. Contrast. Choose a sentence and say it in a soft spoken way and then in a loud way. Do this in order to feel the difference. You can play around with the same sentence. You can try out different sentences, but try to really pay attention to that contrast. All right, hand on your upper stomach. So every time you speak, you should be moving your upper stomach where your diaphragm is. If you're not moving, if your hand is not moving as you speak, then you're not using your diaphragm and your voice is not going to be as loud as it could. Maybe if you're speaking loud, that's coming from your throat, in which case you are straining your vocal cords, and we don't want to do that. However, if your hand is moving as you speak, you are using and engaging your powerhouse. All right, lower your voice. If your voice is too high, it will strain your vocal cords, and that doesn't even make a nice sound, right? You can feel the tension in your neck, and that means that your vocal cords are working too hard. Just try it out yourself, but not too much because I don't want you to strain your vocal cords. Instead, use your diaphragm because that's where the power is going to come from. Speaking loudly does not mean shouting. There's a real difference between the two. You can speak loudly without shouting. Enunciate. Try to pronounce the words as clearly as possible. Don't speak too fast that you're garbling the words or mumbling them, and that would distort the message and the sounds that you're emitting. Instead, what you want to do is sound out each and every word in the sentence with as clear pronunciation as you can muster. You still want to pay attention to connected speech. Try to adopt a natural pace, right? Don't go too slow. You'll lose the connected speech, but you also don't want to be going too fast because that will get in the way of the communication being as clear as it can be, right? And again, don't go too slow because we don't want to sound like a robot. Instead, you want to have control over your voice, and that way you can increase the volume more effectively. So really go for that medium pace, the natural pacing. Practice. Practice makes progress. So when you practice, I really want you to try to think about lowering your voice so that you're generating the power to speak. And where are we getting that power from? Here, right? Your diaphragm. In other words, your powerhouse. That is exactly where the sound should be coming from. It all begins with breathing properly. Remember the breathing through your nose and out through your nose, inhaling for a count of 6, holding for 4, and then exhaling for 8. Because that way you're really sure that you've prepped and primed the muscles. The more you practice, the better you're going to become at speaking from your diaphragm. And I know there's a little bit of an adjustment period. You might have to get used to it. It's probably not going to happen right away, but as long as it's on your mind and you're practicing these techniques, you are going to get there. And one day you're going to see that your voice is way louder without straining your vocal cords. The last thing I'll say here is that it would be helpful to practice these techniques in front of a mirror, because that way you can see not only what you're hearing, but also what your face is doing. How does your posture look, right? And if you're feeling extra confident, which I'm sure you will be, you should record yourself on video so that you can see your body language. And you can also match that to the voice that you hear, the tonality and the power behind the sound, right? Do this a few times a month and you'll see how far you come, especially when you document your journey, right? Like I said, don't expect to increase your volume at the first go because it really does take practice, and that's okay. Just keep it consistent and be patient and you will get there. All right, advanced English learners, I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Let me know which of the techniques is your favorite. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and share this lesson with somebody who you think would really benefit from these techniques. I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll continue advancing your English. Until then, keep up the awesome work. Bye for now.